It is this story of brothers. They're on a parallel journey. Loki is someone who accepts the fact that he'll always play second fiddle. He'll never get the chance to rule. But the banishment allows an opportunity that he long forgot and gave up on. And his desire to be his brother's equal takes hold of him.
Loki, as audiences have come to understand him, is a damaged psychopath. He was undergoing an experience of tragic exile, understanding that his life was a lie, he was adopted, betrayed, and lied to.
Thor and Loki are interesting because their fathers so completely screwed up their childhood. You don't tell two boys that they're both meant to be king, but only one will do it.
Had Odin had more faith in Loki and maybe been more honest with his sons, the secrets he was forced to keep could have avoided the destruction of his family and the falling out of his two sons, who started as two loving brothers but end as the worst of enemies.
At the very end of that film, the Thor film, you see him literally break away from his past, from his family, and you realize any conscience that he had has been burned out of him. Thor, more than any of the other characters, went through a lot in the Avengers. The entire film was about him having to come to Earth to get his rogue brother back. We meet a Loki at the beginning of Avengers that is intent on conquering the planet. His brother has a throne, his real father had a throne, his adopted father had a throne. He wants a throne.
In Thor, he had a very poignant and I thought beautifully realized arc. In this, he's past that. You can still see hints of it. You can still see that the resentments and the vulnerability and the big brother issues and all that stuff. But he's also gone, to a happier place.
In Avengers, all of that emotional damage calcified into pure, cold-blooded evil. He simply wanted to divide and rule and destroy anything that got in the way.
How far, must a relationship between brothers degrade to the point where there's no coming back from it? After the events of Avengers, you're pretty close to that point. Thor wants nothing to do with his brother. He doesn't consider him his brother anymore.
Thor really is picking up from Avengers with the same questions he still has about his brother, about why and how did they end up here and what happened to their relationship.
All of these family dynamics just feel like larger incarnations of very truthful human shapes. Every family bumps heads occasionally, and this family in Asgard is no different.
When we tackle this film, we have a tough time imagining Thor without Loki, because they are so much, the Batman to the Joker. You need that mirror reflection. And I mean that for Loki too. I mean, Loki just by himself, yes, he can go off and do things, but there's something drastically missing if Thor's not there to kind of shine the light on his darkness.
In order for the character to come back up, he had to hit rock bottom.
We wanted Loki to feel a sense of responsibility for his mother's death. When Curse is breaking out all of the other prisoners to wreak havoc during the attack on Asgard, he comes and he sizes up Loki, and even Curse realizes, I'm not going to let this guy out. This guy's trouble.
We knew Loki was going to be an important part of it because that brother relationship is one of the main engines of the Thor movies.
Curse starts to walk away, Loki shows that he is trouble.
You might want to take the stairs to the left.
Curse does that, and of course ultimately ends up killing Frigga.
Loki's indirect responsibility for the downfall of Asgard, his secondary aiding of the Dark Elves and Curse, breaks him.
See if Thor's not there to kind of shut.
He starts in a prison, and he's furious about it. Abandoned and forgotten, figuratively and literally buried from consciousness. He might as well be dead, and he knows it.
You help me escape Asgard, and I will grant it to you. Vengeance and afterward this cell. You're so brilliant, Loki. Why haven't you figured it out?
Take off the shackles and I will.
Think I'm a fool.
Yes. Yes, I do.
There's probably an element where Thor and Loki were in the very first film, in the beginning, when they were brothers, you know, and there was that friendship, or sort of, there was a less hatred involved. There is, I think, we get to a place where there's more of that this time around, you know? And also, Thor gets to really ask Loki, what do you want? You know, what's this about? What, like, why? How did we get here? And also apologize. Yeah, okay, I maybe played a part in that, but, you know, I think he's able to confront Loki and say it's about time that you kind of recognize your role in this.
Suddenly Thor and Loki are bound together on the same journey, going up against Malekith with the same goal, but completely different ways of going about it.
There's this question of trust. Can Thor trust Loki? But Thor is in a desperate place, so he is forced to trust him. And the first example of that is when he takes off the cuffs.
Both characters, Thor and Loki, are exposed for who they really are. And I think they surprise each other. Loki probably, in his heart, wants to be worthy. And the way he achieves that worthiness, the way he achieves his redemption, his salvation, is to ultimately sacrifice himself for Thor and for Jane. He goes down with the ship. It's, I hope, a very cathartic and moving moment by saving his brother's life and avenging his mother's death.
Thor now is heading into a battle with Malekith, the person who killed his mother. The person that Thor believes, at least, is responsible for the death of his brother. And Thor has all of that rage and all of that motivation going into our final battle. Thor returns to Asgard and realizes what he wants. He doesn't want to be king. He doesn't want to be on the throne. We're left at the end of this movie with the two brothers both achieving essentially what they want. Thor realizing he wants to be with the Avengers, he wants to be with Jane, he wants to see what it would be like to be protector of this world. He's not meant to lead from sitting on top of the universe, and Loki, who always wanted to sit on that throne, is doing just that.